Yeah, mule and donkey time. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's that time
Hey.
again. It is Mule and Donkey time. My name is Dave. This is Steve Edwards. Every week we get together on Tuesdays to talk mule and donkeys. This is July 23rd, 2024. If you are watching this sometime in the future, hello from the past. We're so glad that you finally found us, and we hope that you enjoy your tour into the life of mule and equine joy. Every week we do this. We answer any and every mule or donkey questions that you got so that you can gain the trust of your animal, get results, and enjoy what it is to be a mule and donkey owner, mule and donkey rider, mule and donkey leader, whatever the case might be. Steve, it's been a whole week since we have done a program. Went by real quick. What have you been up to over the course of the last 7 days?
Well, I killed my 6th rattlesnake out in the garden the other day. Actually, it's out in the apple orchard. Got that little bugger out of the way. That's number 6. And of course, I had the world famous colonoscopy yesterday. Yes, sir. I know a bunch of you all are getting that. Now, I want to tell you, it is ugly to do, but I want to tell you, I lost a very good friend over this thing, this colon stuff. Okay. So don't fear going to get you a colonoscopy. I want to talk about mules and donkeys too, but look, you got to ride. And if you're going to ride healthy. Now, I've also got a nephew with this thing too, and he's stage 4 cancer. So go get that colonoscopy. That's all I'm going to say for now. Got a whole bunch of other things to talk about, Dave.
Yeah, we got a lot of other things to talk about. The first thing before we go any further is I want to remind everyone that tomorrow we have the White Marks Clinic. We're going to be talking all about the white marks that you don't want appearing on your mule's back, whether it be the withers or near the hips, whatever the case might be. You don't want those white marks, and they are unavoidable. And the information on the internet right now is not correct. Of course, someone thought they were correct when they were writing it, and who knows what their scenario might be. But what we have found is that the white marks really don't have anything to do with the saddle. Steve, you want to give folks a preview really quickly about what tomorrow is all about?
I was hoping you would ask, Dave. I happen to be reading the internet right now, which you all know is always correct, right? Not. Listen. A good sign. Let's see, what are white marks on my saddle? Now, that's kind of incorrect. That's what they asked, okay? A good sign that you have the bad type of dry spots is rough hair. This can indicate that too much friction irritates the skin. Okay, we're doing good so far. Another more severe indication of this problem is blistering skin, sores, and white spots. Okay, we're doing okay. Oh, wait a minute. Now we get the problem. This is a sign that the saddle is pinching the horse and should be dealt with sooner. Pinching the horse, okay? No, folks. No. And I'm going to show you exactly, without a doubt, you're going to see me show you what white marks are from, okay? What they're from. And you've got to remember, this is really important. This is one of the biggest things in the equine world, okay? Okay, and I'm doing this program for it's free, and I'm going to address actually mostly mules and donkeys, of course, okay? But this is for the equine world because the stupidity of out there, backyard horsemen. Now, I don't mean to be cruel, all right? But there's a big difference between somebody putting a tree on a mule or a horse or a donkey and say, yep, that one fits. Wait a minute. That mule and donkey didn't move. That mule and donkey didn't get sweaty. That mule and donkey didn't go up the trail. Do y'all see the picture? If that saddle truly works, you should be able to see it everyday use. Bang, 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 bang. Okay? And I'm going to help you. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to talk about white hairs under the bars, and you're going to be blown away because I got the videos that'll help you out, and you'll see exactly why you've got white hairs. And we'll stop right there, Dave, and
Yeah.
it's going to be
It's
a great
free,
show.
and I know that there's a lot of folks who say that they're not going to be able to make it live. That's okay. We knew that was going to happen. Life is busy. The fact that you're here right now watching a little bit of this program, joining in with us, really does mean the world to us, because life is busy and there's lots of other things you could be doing. So sign up anyways, because we will be sending out an email after the event with the replay. You can watch it on your own time. Now, you won't be able to ask questions in real time, and you won't be able to interact with some of the folks who are going to be chatting with us in real time, but you will be able to watch on demand. We'd love to have you there live. If you can't make it live, still register. Link is in the comment section. Do that now before you forget. This is probably one of the best things that you can do for yourself as far as preparing your mule and donkey for the ride that is comfortable for you and that is comfortable for them. That's one of the things we hear more than anything else, is how do I make sure that my mule or donkey is comfortable when we're riding? Well, we don't want just them to be comfortable. We want both of you to be comfortable. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. It directly impacts the comfort of both of you. So without any further, what time? 5 o'clock Pacific time, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. So we did it a little bit later in the day, trying to make sure that as many people could join as possible. But here and now, we're going to be answering any and every mule or donkey question that you got. Tomorrow, it's all about white hairs. We're reserving the conversation for white hairs. Today, it's whatever goes. Really, if this is your first time joining us, there's really only 3 things we ask. First and foremost, that you share your name, where you're watching from, what the weather is like in your neck of the woods. You see folks on YouTube and Facebook are already doing that, and we salute you. The second thing we ask is that you take a moment to put in the comment section whatever mule or donkey question that you do have. It benefits in 2 ways. Number 1, you get the answers you need to get out there and enjoy what it is to train. It should be a joy to train. Now, that doesn't mean that it's always going to be easy. That doesn't mean that it's never going to be without frustration, but that joy that you find of just knowing that you are interacting with creation and you are pursuing something worthwhile, we want that for you. So ask the question so you can get that joy. But the second reason is other folks are going to have that same question that you've got, and if we answer it today, they're going to get the answer when they watch it. So any and every mule or donkey question that you got, put it in the comments section. Third thing that we ask is that you share the broadcast with friends and family. Y'all have done a great job with that. We ask that you would continue to do it. And Steve, I want to get started with our first question of the day. Let's see here. I had it up and all of a sudden my screen went blank. Here we go. Question is, originally we talked about, can mules be housed and pastured with dehorned cattle? We want to expand that. Can mules and donkeys be pastured with dehorned cattle?
All right. Just because they don't have horns, don't mean they can't be lethal. Okay. I have literally seen cattle come up underneath a horse and rider and flip them over. No horns. All right. And of course, when they got horns on them, they can be lethal. That's when they can open them up, but they can still bust ribs and stuff like that. I have seen it to where mules have kept baby calves away from their mother and mothered up to them, and actually they end up dying because they weren't able to feed them, this sort of thing, when they were babies, or they got kicked or something like that by the mule. Now, a lot of people go to the internet and they watch the YouTubes of Brazil. Now, I've been to Brazil 2 times. I was invited by International Equus in 2006 and 2012, and doing my mule training seminars there. And it was a great, wonderful thing that I was asked to do it, and I was really blessed. So, but you're going to see put in there Brazilian cowboy working cattle with mule, and you'll see the mule keeping this Brahma cow away from her baby, and the mulero, the Brazilian, is working the calf, okay? But everybody thinks it's cool that that mule was trained to keep that cow away, and he was not trained to do that, folks. They don't train him to do that. They know the natural abilities of the mule to keep the mother away from a calf they've mothered up to, and that's why the mule does what he does. All right, now, so I would not put any mules out with calves. I've lost cattle before by calves and this sort of thing by turning mules out. I don't do that. Now, donkeys, the miniature donkeys, the little ones, usually do pretty good. Matter of fact, Mexicans down toward Mexico will have a bunch of donkeys, and they want to take their calves over to a particular corral a mile or two away. And so they will neck the calves up to the donkeys, and the donkeys will actually drag the calves to that corrals because they know they're going to get fed and grained there. So that's why the donkeys do that. But anyway, going back, don't do it. Don't put them out there. You can end up with some big veterinarian bills that you don't want to deal with.
Awesome. Thanks for the question. Appreciate it. I want to say hello to Dave O'Brien, watching from East Texas, where it's 82 and nice. Marcia says it's humid, but finally got rain yesterday and today in Virginia. I love that rain. Steve, folks will tell me all the time when I travel across to other areas of the United States, I'll show up and they'll say, "Oh my goodness, it was so sunny, and then you showed up, and for some reason the clouds are all here. We are so sorry that it's just not sunny out." I say, I live in Arizona. It's sun all the time. I am loving these clouds. Matter of fact, if it would rain a little bit, that would make my day. So I love it when it rains a little bit. I know that that's just the Arizona thing, but it is one of my favorites. Merlin is watching from northwest Minnesota. Clear, but we have Canada's smoke. It's about 88 degrees and very humid. Andrea from Boone, North Carolina, 66. Lots of rain. I am thankful. That is a good posture. Man, gratitude, that is just such a key. Gratitude makes what you got more than enough. Yep. California, 106. That's Cody watching. Edna is watching from Spring Hill, Florida. 87, hot and thunderstorms passing through. Tamar's watching from Mount Marshall, Queensland. That's the wrong button. Here we go there. Mount Marshall, Queensland, Australia. Sunny and crisp here for Winter's Day. Polly is watching from Barnesville, Minnesota. 77 and humid. I rode on Saturday. Only mule out of 80 riders. I made Steve proud and answered questions about my Steve Edwards tack, even referred someone to muleranch.com. I am riding again tomorrow. And that's what we love to hear right there, Polly. That's wonderful. Hey, you get a glockenspiel just for being awesome. Herschel's watching Missouri, 86, sunny and humid. Donna Joe is watching from Pahrump, Nevada, 115, 50% humidity. Love the monsoon season. You and me both. Misty is watching, and Judy, Central Texas, 80 and overcast. We love our mother-daughter time listening to you all. That's awesome. Thank you, Misty. All right, Cody's got a question. I just bought my first mule. He was born June 3rd and will be with mom till 6 months old. Should I have him gelded and wolf teeth pulled while he's there, or once I have him at home? Should I go ahead and vaccinate now? Great question. What would you say to Cody, Steve?
You know, my favorite saying has been, if the testicles are down, they're mine. So if both of them testicles are down, the sooner you castrate him, the better. Now, here's my favorite thing to say to you, all right? If you can get that colt away from mama, and it's good to have, this is really good, to have mama be in one ranch and you be in the other. So if you're coming to get that baby, take him home, then castrate him, get the wolf teeth done, give him his vaccinations, worming, you know, the whole bit right there. Now, here's the good thing about this. While he is still under anesthetic and this sort of thing, it is really good to walk this donkey, so the mule and donkeys too, so that the castration will work really good. Exercise. So when you do castrate this colt, make sure you're going to spend the time to walk him, put the come along hitch on him, pick up all 4 feet, walk him, put the come along hitch, pick up all 4 feet. That's all that baby needs. All right. No tying up. Never, ever, ever want to tie a baby up by himself. Okay. They got a chance of hurting their skeletal structure. They got a chance of pulling their back out of place. A lot of different things can go wrong. So you do yourself and your new mule a favor and get him home, get him done. Now, you may not have a veterinarian. Now, I know, you don't have the old time veterinarians that we used to have, y'all. Okay. We don't have them. So I got to tell you, it's going to might be a little tough to find one that'll castrate fairly young. But listen, the reason I do it is they get a better mindset. Now, one of the reasons that we usually let a stud go longer is so they get a good stiff, big, heavy neck and this sort of thing, which wasn't good. But anyway, it gives them a better mindset. You'll have a better John Mule, far better, by castrating them early. So there you go. Hope you find somebody. And hey, let me know how things go. Keep in touch, will you?
Awesome. Hey, in addition to the White Hairs webinar that we got coming up tomorrow evening, I want to let you all know that Steve is actually going to be live and in person, like real in person. We love the digital here. This is fun, but real and in person come September, end of September. Steve's traveling to Tennessee, and he is going to be doing a clinic up at the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival in Shelbyville, Tennessee. This is the third year of the festival, and third year Steve's gone. It's going to be an incredible time, and I just want to make sure to mention it now because there's still time for you to plan to go. I saw someone, Steve, put in the comments section from last week saying they think they're going to make this a mother-daughter trip. And I said, that's awesome because there's something for everybody there. And I have heard nothing but great things from you and great things from other people. Anything you want to say about Shelbyville before we get to our next question?
No, Shelbyville is really famous for walking horses. I mean, the best in the world is there. But I'm going to also tell you, it's also pretty famous for having some mule days there too. So this is kind of unique. This is really unique because Marty Ray is putting on something here for the community, all right, and for the mule world. Why the community? The money going to this, okay, all the money going to this, you all, goes to community organizations that the Christian churches and this sort of thing are in there to help. So organizations that are Christian-based, faith-based, the money is going toward that. So listen, I'm not charging for this clinic, okay? I'm not. But I'm looking for you for donations. You are. Now, I'm also going to tell you something I just made a decision on here this past week. That is, you all know that I'm pretty much at 75 years old. I'm pretty much done as far as working cattle and stuff. My buddy Randy passed away, so I don't have a ranch to go to. I got ranches to go to, but one that I don't. I'd rather have gone with Randy. But anyway, to his ranch. But anyway, he's gone now, so I'm not doing much in the way of ranching and this sort of thing. So I'm going to bring a lot of things that I want to sell to Shelbyville. And these are things that my kids wouldn't know what to do with. And so they just let them go, for whatever. So I'm bringing this stuff here, shaps and bits and spurs and things like this, it's collector stuff. So I'm going to be selling it there along with, I am going to have my mule saddles and all my saddles and tack and this sort of thing there as well. And the last thing, I get to share the Lord. I get to do it on Sunday morning. I'm going to be doing Cowboy Church. And the thing I'm going to talk about is the devil made me do it.
Awesome. Shelbyville, it's the end of September. I put the link in the comment section. It's a great time, something for everyone. Steve, next question is what are some signs of colic? This one comes from Joe.
Joe, especially with mules and donkeys, you all, and I keep telling you, I want you to listen to what I'm saying here. Mules are they brace into pain. People look into a donkey and say, well, he didn't get it. Well, the donkey did get it. He just doesn't show it when it comes to training and stuff. So some of the signs, one of the signs is him off his feed. That's a normal thing. If you come up to feed him and he's still standing in a corner, we got a problem. Now, understand that if a mule is starting to show colic, he is way ahead of the average horse because all of his system, he braces into that pain. That's why he braces into ill-fitting saddles, or he goes into harness and really does a good job of pulling it, or braces into the pack saddle and does the pack. They're good at doing that stuff, but the other thing is, the downside is they're already 50% going bad on colic. All right, so now, what's another sign? You can lift their lips up and push on their gums and see what the capillary refill looks like. So in other words, when you see the gum, they have a little reddish, whitish tone to them. But when you take and stick your finger into it and pull it away, how fast is the color coming back in? If it comes real slow, you've got a colic problem. Okay, now, them laying down and rolling, kicking at their sides, things like this is all, that's when it's really serious. That's when you're about to lose them, okay? So what can we do to prevent this? This is the number one thing. What can we do to prevent it? Number one, always feed good, clean hay and water. Always have salt available, 50% block of salt. And folks, when you go on your trips, make sure you take salt with you. When you go on your trips, make sure you have electrolytes with you. Not only do you need the electrolytes, but the mules and donkeys do too. Listen, think of them. You're going there to have a good time. They need to too. Now, David Pingali sent me, I don't know if you got a copy of that or not, but I sent that to you, where David Pingali had his hay tested, and he sent me a copy of it. And I sent you a copy of it.
Keep talking. I'll see if I can bring it up here real quick.
Okay, and it's not important that we look at the copy of it, but here's the thing. On this sheet, talked about what was in the hay, vitamins and minerals and pack rats and snakes and whatever. Okay, it'll tell you all this. The good thing about the hay that David Pingali was feeding is it was really clean. It was really clean. And so that's something that Dave and we're going to put this up over by our feeding program so people can look at that, where he went and had this hay tested, and because why? His mules were not feeding so much. Okay, here's why they weren't feeding so much. They'd taken them off of rich pastures and this sort of thing, where all the candy was there. Okay, just like smorgasbord with you and I there. Yeah, Dave knows what that looks like. You can see it in his belly. Yeah, me too. And ice cream. Oh, David is ice cream. Anyway, let's go on. So they were saying, there you go, the Extension Center. Y'all see that? Dave Pingali did it right. Do you care about your horses and mules and your donkeys? There you are. Don't just throw them a flake of hay. You get to know exactly what's in that hay. Okay? Exactly what's in that hay. Just look at that, and that way you can know what vitamins and minerals are missing in your hay, and then you can take and make up the difference once you get a blood test or a hair follicle test, so that you know exactly what your mule and donkey needs. Now, you all know I talked to you about the colonoscopy I did yesterday, okay? And one of the things that doctor told me was I had a little bit of colitis. And he said, look, you got to eat more green vegetables, you know. All that elk and deer and rattlesnake that you're eating is all well and good, but you need vegetables with it. Yeah. So anyway, you see what I'm saying? So just because I'm eating deer and elk and this sort of thing, I've got to have other things with it as well, plus my vitamins and minerals that I take, all right? And of course, my vitamins and minerals is completely different than what you all take. So what am I saying? I'm saying is you want to really take care of your animals, you got to do it, okay? By the way, Dave, we got a kind of a sad story. Did you read that article, that email from the lady that was on the wagon train?
No, tell me about it. I've seen it come through, but I haven't had a chance to get caught up
Okay,
yet.
so here's the overview of it, folks. Last week, this lady was all excited. She's going to take her wagon and her mules, and they were going to go on a wagon train. Man, it was great. First day, beautiful day, everything was great. Well, the second day, all of a sudden, blood was flying everywhere out of this mule's nose. And it got to be really ugly. They ended up getting a trailer, and they got it to a vet. And they found out what it was. And I don't remember what it was all about. But folks, it's sad when you have a great mule that she's had for years, and all of a sudden they have some kind of traumatic disease or some kind of traumatic something happens. They're not bulletproof, folks. This can happen. Okay, this lady was really sad. She lost a very, very nice mule that she had for 20 some odd years. Folks, these animals are not bulletproof. So another good reason for you to be taking care of them, you're going to be taking them on long rides and wagon trains and stuff. Make sure they're taken care of. And I'm sure that this lady took super care because this happened to be some kind of disease. And I'll tell you what, next week I'll make sure I kind of hit on it. But I just want to tell folks, you know, I really feel sorry for this lady who had this happen to her mule, and my condolences to her.
All right. Cruising along here. Let's see. The next question that I have is we talked a little bit about in a past episode what's bad about contracted heels on a mule. And one person asked, can you put blocks on them instead of shoeing? What are blocks? Do you know what they're talking about?
I'm not sure about that. There are different boots that you can put on. Uncle Bud used to take tires and cut out a shoe for his little tiny mules that he had because he had really small mules. I've never heard of blocks, but
Yeah.
folks, listen, you got to spread the heel. And blocks to me sound solid. So the idea of the branches of the end of the shoe is that you take these branches and you tip them like this. Now, I'm over exaggerating, but the idea is when the foot comes down, the outside of the foot wall goes out and then starts spreading little by little, start spreading the heels. By spreading the heels, then you get the contraction away, and now we have a frog that's good and healthy, big and fat. That's what you want. You want a nice, healthy frog. If your frog is hard, you've got contracted heels. Get that in your mind, okay? You want to make sure that especially back feet, are really bad about that. But the front feet are worse, okay? The front feet, you'll see mules that are pigeon-toed and slew-footed and this sort of thing. A lot of it has to do, folks, like this guy that asked about castration of his mule. When the most important thing you can do with a young mule up until he's 3 years old, the most important thing is make sure the hoof is balanced. You got a balanced hoof, you got to have straight legs. It's like with a good balanced tire, you're going to have a good car going down the road straight, okay? And so it's really important that you do that. But there you go. That'll be helpful to you, Dave.
Awesome. Let's see here. Jane is watching from North Florida, hot, 90 degrees, and hearing thunder. Not rain yet, but maybe soon. Love your webinars so much. Thank you both. Great job. Thank you, Jane. Kathy is watching from a cloudy and warm Houston, Texas. Cowboy Ken is watching from 74 cloudy in Connecticut. Hey, Sherman Johnson is here in Norman, Oklahoma, 87 degrees. Myra, hey, good to have you here. Glad to be watching today. We're having really hot weather like so many. We're having very hot days here in Southern California. I'll tell you what, it cooled down here to about 109 today. So I was feeling pretty good. I tell people, they're like, how do you manage? I was like, really? Once it gets to 100, anything from 100 to 109 is really feels the same. Once you get over 109, it hits 110. And so you can feel every single degrees. But, 100 to 109, not bad at all.
It's
Stay cool out there.
112 here right now.
Oh, is that what it is on the ground?
That's what it is in the atmosphere. I'm looking at it right now. I got a thermometer up here in the window where I can kind of see it, and it's 112 degrees with 39% humidity right now. It's pretty yucky out there.
That's not what it is inside, though.
No. 78 degrees. No, actually, I got it inside right now. It's about 85. Yeah.
All right. I office out of my parents' house. I get to see my parents every day. I had an office. I was like, why am I spending all this money giving it to someone else? I'll rent the room from my parents. I'll get to see my parents every day. Today I was on my way over later in the afternoon. And so I messaged my dad before I got here. I said, hey, I'm coming over. Turn the thermostat down because I didn't want to show up and it be all sweating when I got here. So Dad turned it down for me. Hey, Pat is watching from Aberdeen, North Carolina, where it's 84 degrees, 74% humidity, and thunderstorms are rolling in. Thunderstorms are rolling in. Jimmy is watching, 84 degrees in Michigan. August 23rd, going to East Texas to see a brother about the possibility of getting my forever mule. Steve, do you have any suggestions for my first interaction with the mule?
Yep. First interaction, let somebody else do it. Let somebody else pet them. Let somebody else brush them. Let somebody else catch them. Let somebody else picking up their feet. Watch all that. As you are watching, what are you watching for? Where's the buttons on these mules? Okay, in other words, what I mean is, do they have a button that they really like? This is good. You'll see it with their head down and their eyes all big and brown and they're happy. Or they kind of elevate their head and they get real wide-eyed. We got a problem here. Well, watch and see what the mule is telling the person who's handling the mule. Watch and see. Read the mule, okay? Watch his eyes. Watch his head. You want to see his head down and relaxed. But when he elevates his head, he's going, hey, I'm watching what's going on here. And so you want to do that. Now it's your turn. Get a brush out and go to brushing, okay? Rub him, brush him and this sort of thing. Pick up all 4 feet and put the come along hitch on him and walk him around and then go put him back in the corral. Wait a minute. Oh, you mean I can't ride him? Well, why? You know he can be ridden. You got to get to know him down here on his level. Riding is not the important part, you all. Get that out of your mind, please. It's like halters. Everybody's thinking halters. Now, Steve's really been thumping this halter thing this past year. I am, because it's important, okay? Extremely important. I didn't say ride. No. Why? I want you to get to know the mule, the donkey, okay? You get to know him on the ground. Now, put him away. Go get you a nice little cup of iced tea or something and relax a little bit. Maybe a couple hours later, go back over and take him out. Spend some time with him. Pick up the feet, brush him, walk him around a little bit, put him up. Well, I want to ride him. Well, you know what? It's not important. You see what I'm saying? Get to know him. The riding part, he's been ridden. You've seen him be ridden. You know he's been ridden. So now get to know him. They knows the other person. Okay. I always get a kick out of people. If you go to a place and the mule is already saddled up, climb back in your car and leave. Well, why? Well, because they've topped the mule off. They don't want to show you all the things that the mule can't do. All right. Picking up the feet and catching them and things like this. Okay. So get to know them on the ground, folks. That's far more important. And load him in a trailer a couple of times, but spend your time there brushing and this sort of thing. Even though it's your brother giving you the mule or whatever's happening there, your grandmother's Aunt Tilly, whatever. I don't care how well that mule is, quote, supposed to be trained. You hear that? The same thing I'm telling you to do right now is exactly what I would do. I don't care about riding. What else does the mule going to show me as I'm going along? What's it going to show me? And I can tell that on the ground. I can't tell that from an ER, folks. It's not important to ride. It is important to get to know them on ground level. You're a predator. You're on their back. You're a mountain lion. And you give them the wrong cues, the wrong things. Most of the time, it's not their fault. It's your fault when they do it incorrectly. So there you are. What would I do? There it is. Get you the ground communication kit and put it to work.
Ground communication kit. There was a stretch there where we were talking about it all the time, and we still should. But it is the come along rope and the problem mule video, which is an instructional video showing you how the communication works with the come along rope. And then for when you need it, there is an adjustable rope halter. I'll put a link in the comment section. We don't tell you what you need to buy, but we do strongly recommend, out of everything, that's really the only thing that we say you do need to have this. And that's actually not us saying it. That's what everybody else has said to us. It just works. It just works. I'll put a link in the comment section. Y'all can take a look and see for yourself. Next question, Steve. The Trail Rider bit, which is your finished bit, has sweet iron. The double twisted wire snaffle bit, I believe it's different than that. And then neither of them use copper. Can you explain a little bit the difference between the Trail Rider material and then the double twisted wire material, and then why you wouldn't use copper in general?
Okay, so number one, why wouldn't I use copper? It seems to create, and I had an old veterinarian tell me this years ago, Dr. Rahman. It seems to create like a static electricity. And it kind of, the mules want to gap their mouth and stuff, and people put cavesons on their mouths to shut their mouths up, but it doesn't. It's supposed to create the moisture, and it just creates problems. So that's one of the reasons. Now, I go to the double twist wire snaffle bit. It is laying on the tongue. It crosses the tongue, okay, on both sides. It's just not like a regular snaffle bit that captures the tongue like this. Each side crosses the tongue, and it communicates to the bars of the mouth, and it communicates, the bars of the mouth, and it communicates to the corners of the mouth. Now, by laying on the tongue and by going on the bars of the mouth and on the corners, the mule will naturally just want to salivate. Okay? They want to salivate. So that's one of the reasons I don't do anything like that with my Mule Rider's martingale. Okay? Now, the finished bit. Look on my webpage, you'll see two of the same bits laying on a flat surface. All right? Because people say all the time, I got a bit like yours, I don't need yours. No, it's not like mine. You'll see that when those two bits are laying down, there you go. Look at the one on the left-hand side. You see it sticking up? That's so it will be back in the palate of the mouth. You see it on one on the right-hand side? That one is laying flat. And because it's laying flat, okay, that sets more forward in the mule's mouth. Yes, you're riding and getting some communication, But like everything else, folks, I've ridden these mules. I know how they're supposed to feel. Like I said, I've ridden a lot of them, hundreds of them probably. I feel them. I understand. And especially in their mouth, mules care less about their mouth than they do their nose. So that's what I've done. I developed. It's called correctional mouthpiece. It's a wonderful bit, but notice how much more different mine is. Okay. And you need that transition. Okay. It needs that transition. You need it to go from the Mule Rider's martingale into the finished bit. Now, that Mule Rider's martingale, when do I need it again? When I need a tune-up. When my mule's been standing 3, 4, 5 months and I need a tune-up. I get that out in the surf single, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Now, when am I going to use it? I'm going to go on a ride. Like the one lady said, she had the only mule in the whole ride. All right. When I'm going to go on a ride, I have more control with the Mule Rider's martingale, so that when that mule falls in love with some horse and I need to get away from that horse and I need to correct the mule, my Mule Rider's martingale can do that. Now, I can go into the finished bit a little later on, as long as the mule's responding well. All right, I can do that. Now, when do I go from the Mule Rider's martingale to the finished bit? The day I can one-handed my martingale, back up 2 steps, go to the left 2 steps, go to the right 2 steps. When I can do that, because normally my Mule Rider's martingale, I'm riding direct reining with 2 reins. All right. And so I will be riding that way. But when I can start riding one-handed and get those little tries, I will introduce, hear that? Not ride with, but introduce the finished bit. And that means putting in his mouth, letting him pack it, never adjusting it, never creating 1 wrinkle or 2 wrinkles. Matter of fact, the Mule Rider's martingale, you're never, ever going to adjust it. Once you put it in that mule's mouth and it bumps the front teeth, he'll pick it up and he'll pack it. And he'll pack it every single time the right way. And as your mule gets older, their teeth go from being straight up and down, and they start getting longer in the tooth, and the mouth starts getting longer. So you got to consider that, folks, is that it does change. The mouth does change. So allow them to pick up the bit and pack it. The martingale, I never allow them to. I never adjust it. I just allow them to pack it up. And when it comes to the finished bit, once I put it on their head, they pick it up and they hold it. I adjust it to that spot. But otherwise, when I get ready to take it off, I always loosen it up, let it come off. I never, ever, ever, ever put on a pre-adjusted bit. But before all of this, before the bits, the ground communication kit.
Awesome. Great question. Appreciate it. Just simple question. Why not copper? And what's the difference there? So that's great. Hopping back over, I want to say hello. Oh, it just jumped on me. Let me get all the way back up. Y'all have been talking, and I got to catch up. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sherman Johnson. Okay, there we go. Jimmy, Myra, temps in the 90 in California. Skeeter, hey, Steve, Dave, Mark from up the road in Chino Valley. You already know what the weather is. That's right. Beth is watching. With what you're saying about cattle and mules, will that come out in competitive sorting?
Yes. I can tell you that when it comes to my mules on ranches, I always got a big smile when folks see me show up with my mules and my dogs, my border collie dogs and my mules. And when they see that mule work and they see us doing the team pinning and sorting and stuff like this, that mule can flat do it, folks, especially if that mule is bred cowy, okay? If they're bred Tibial Chant, Peppy Sand, stuff like that, really cowy kind of a mule, kind of a horse, then you're going to see it. But I also understand, folks, that if you got one bred that way, unfortunately, the conformation is going to be a little tough on you. But conformation is going to be high in the hip. But yes, they're really good at working cattle. Man, it was, matter of fact, down at the Endrada Ranch with Randy, he mainly worked his mules with cattle with his mules. You know, that little Rocky mule I have, you know, or had, that now Jody and Wayne has up in Washington. Dave, they send me pictures all the time of them with Rocky. I mean, that little old guy's got it made up there. Everybody loves that mule, and they say, Steve, he's the same way every single day. We cannot ride him for a few days, go throw a saddle on him and ride him off. He'll ride just like he was yesterday. Yeah, that's Rocky. That's my Rocky. And let me tell you, folks, take the time to do it right. You'll have a Rocky mule. Okay? You'll have a Rocky mule. And this mule set 2.5 years before Jody and Larry wanted to buy him. They didn't know about him, of course. I didn't tell nobody about him because I really didn't want to sell the mule, and Randy and Cindy didn't either. But there you go, folks. If you spend the time with your mule and donkey, you'll have a Rocky mule. He'll be the same way every single time. We wouldn't have a bunch of animals going to slaughter if you all would take your time and do your groundwork, do your surcingle work, do your bidding work, and spend 6 months building a foundation. But I just bought a broke mule. Yeah, yeah, I can show you in a short time. Anybody that brings me a broke mule and a trained mule, I will show you in just a matter of minutes, 15 minutes, that mule is not as broke as you think he is. The guy or the person may have said he was, but he's not, okay? Stories are one thing, the truth is another.
Steve, I've got something kind of fun for you. You may have already seen this, but you didn't know that I was going to bring it. Let's see here. I just got permission. Check this out.
Oh.
You know who that is?
Yeah, that's Dave over in Australia.
Just sent it over, and he told me, he's like, I made a few mistakes here, but that's life, which I thought was excellent. I said, that's Steve's whole thing. Hey, you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay. But, yeah, how cool is that?
That's
First
Australian
session, getting
cowboy.
the babies to follow their noses.
Yeah, good for him. Now, isn't that something, folks? Now, in Australia, see, he's a cowboy. And in Australia, they wear shorts and short sleeve shirts and small hats. You see that? Now, in Arizona, and the Western cowboys and the cowboys that I know, long pants, long sleeve shirts, and big hats. But them Australian boys, even as hot as it is, look at there. Look at Dave. I'm proud of him, man. Now, hey, folks, now this is great because Dave 5 years ago didn't know diddly about mules. And now he is the biggest mule producer in Australia. And let me tell you, he's got the knowledge. So him doing clinics and stuff over there for you and doing things in the future, man, oh man, Dave's going to be good. Hey, maybe sometime we might get another invite to go over there and see him and go to Australia, huh?
Yep. Hey, we will say we've gone international there. Show some Australian mule training. Okay, let's see here. Rory is watching, says Bill, Rose, and I have tickets and accommodation to Shelbyville. Marsha says, I'm not getting YouTube live notification, but it's not just for your live streams. Is YouTube being bad? It could be. I've been getting them, Marsha. Of course, I signed up as a test all those years ago, and so I still get the notifications. Might be something with your account, but you know where to find us. We're here every week.
Is that Marsha Barton?
Pacific. What?
Is that Marsha Barton?
Marsha Byram.
Brian.
Yeah. Elvis, hey, Steve, I got some. You sent me something that you wanted to talk about. Folks need to hang on because we're going to be showing something here in a couple minutes, and I don't want you to miss it. And I know Steve wants you to be here because he doesn't want you to miss it either. So stand by. Bill, sharing to Mules of Ohio and Indiana, mostly sunny at 85. What's the difference? Mark says, what's the difference in oats? Rolled, crimped, etc.
I'm not a real expert when it comes down to this stuff, but it's how the oats are prepared, steamed and stuff like this. The best thing to do is go to a mill and ask them about it and talk to them about it, because I don't know much about it. I just know this: I feed whole oats for energy for my mules, and I feed crimped oats for my cattle when I want to fatten them up. That's about all I know.
Awesome. Kale is watching. Ames, Iowa, 83, trying to storm, but I'm going to ride anyways. Get out there and enjoy it. Stay safe. Rory says, thanks for the tip on the mule's gums. Freedom says, how does the mule show affection? Dogs will hug and snuggle. What do mules do?
Well, really, folks, they do whatever you want them to do, is what the best way I would say it. They're not really, quote, affection. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's really good. He'll come right out to me from a field. Well, that's nice. But the problem is, a lot of those mules that are really fluffy, they're the ones that hurt me the most, because I let my guard down. Okay. And they can hurt you the most, but they don't really show affection like dogs. Why? Because they're a prey animal. Dog is predator, just like you and I. And so they show affection by coming up and greeting us and this sort of thing all the time. But they know who's master, or should be.
Let's see. Andrea says, I would not know how to read the hay report, but I guess the extension folks could help.
Yes. There you go. There you are. Yeah, we're gonna add some stuff over there to our feed program and stuff. And David Pingali, I'm gonna take and put that there and say, hey, if you care about your animals, I've been talking about it. There it is. Okay, the extension center can do it, and you know exactly. There's no guessing. Okay, don't be like most folks that are out there. They just let their horse, their mule, their donkey eat whatever. They don't take care of their feed really. Their feet, they don't do much in the way of vet work and stuff. Don't do that to your animals, folks. Take care of them. It was given us to have dominion over them, okay? And therefore, we got to take care of them. Take care of that mule and donkey. If you love them, don't overfeed them.
Hannah's watching from Florida, 86 degrees, thunderstorms. God bless America. Kathy says, I asked the vet about doing a blood or hair follicle test to check for mineral deficiencies. She said it would be too expensive to test for each different mineral, and it would be better just to feed a rotation balancer. I'm doing that already. I know you always recommend the test, so I was wondering how you're having it done. That is an economical way. Thanks as always. David Pengelly said my water and hay tests came to $150 US, and now I know what I have. Any thoughts there, Steve?
Well, there you are, folks. I, of course, I'm not a veterinarian by any means, but I've never heard anybody taking and being charged per each test. You do a blood test, you can get a lot done. It's like when I get my blood test done and this sort of thing. You get a lot, you know a lot about what's going on. I just did my full health cert, and they took my blood, and they give me a massive list of things, and said that I was super mule man. Yes, sir. Super. Anyway, so that's new to me, folks. Yeah, ma'am, why don't you find another veterinarian and get their opinion? Because I don't understand that one.
Let's see. Polly says it was guttural pouch hemorrhage that happened to my mule. Pretty much
Yeah,
not preventable. You can read up on it if desired. Was that the one you were talking about earlier?
Yeah. Thanks, Polly. I appreciate you sharing that. And folks, it's tough. Polly lost a very good animal there, and it was something rare. People tell me all the time, "Oh, mules live longer." No, they don't. Okay, they can live long and they can live short. I've seen it both ways. But thank you very much, Polly, for sharing that. And again, I know it'd be hard to replace that good old mule like you had, and that's quite a story that you done there. Thank you.
Kale says reference to shoeing with blocks, probably referring to the Stewart style clog made of plywood or plastic composite.
Wow.
Kale, let us know.
I learn something new all
I
the time.
appreciate that he took a stab at it, and that could be it. It was someone on YouTube that left a comment on one of our videos, so I couldn't ask in real time. But hey, good for you there, Kale, educating us as always. Kale's right on top of it, and he's actually very, very generous. Loves everything that we're doing here. So thank you for showing the love back there, Kale. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Marcia says, I told my friend with a broken back, riding is not number one. She fell in her kitchen, not on her horse. Her brother says, sell it. So there you go. Janet from Kingman, I have a brand new donkey that was born at a rescue and was bottle fed. They told me he was 4, but no, he is 2. How can I start training? He has minimal training.
Yeah. Well, when they're bottle fed, folks, unfortunately, they get babied too much. And unfortunately, they can sure hurt you really serious. I'm telling you, folks, just because they're gentle doesn't mean they're not going to hurt you. They're a flight and fright animal. They are. So start with the ground communication kit. Start there. Okay. Everybody should be starting there. Riding is not important. Leading is not important. Did you see what Dave Galley was doing? Dave Pengelling was having to go around in small circles. Do you hear that? There wasn't a lot of big, no. Keep it small. Keep thinking small, okay? And you'll do good. But stay off their backs for quite a while.
All right, let's see if we can wrap up here. Jackie says, I give my equine a month or longer to get acclimated before I attempt to ride. Handling and getting to know a mule is the way to go. Susie is watching, says, what are the signs of EPM in donkeys? What is EPM, Steve?
Well, it's a stuff where the raccoons and this sort of thing have urinated and stuff on the hay, and it being kind of crippled. There's a lot of stuff on it on the internet that you might want to look at. A lot of good veterinarians have written some good stuff on it. It's a neurological disease, and it affects all kinds of animals, but possums. It's caused by parasites, from possums and this sort of thing. It infects horses, but it infects their nervous system, and it can be really ugly. But it's from infected possums feces. So that's one reason to keep your hay and this sort of thing in really good places. Your feed, that's what I like about feeding pellets. You can go to, folks, you can read my article on Mules Can't Stand Prosperity, okay? And you can see my feed program that I've designed. You can take that same feed program and take it to a milling company that makes feed and have them make the pellet for you. All right. And you can then you can use that for a starting place. But again, knowing what your blood work is and this sort of thing is really, really important. Okay. So going back to the feed, it's really important, folks, that you feed a good feed and you keep it clean, keep it in places. So there you are, Dave. That's in general. Lots of good information out there on the internet about it. And I cannot pronounce it. It's equine protozoa methylpatholine. Anyway, I don't know how to really tell you other than the best thing you can do is to keep your feed locked up to where possums can't get in there and urinate on it and this sort of thing and poop on it. And it is a treatable disease, but it can be awful ugly to your horse. And there are different signs that you see, of course, always going off of feed and this sort of thing. But anyway, it can be pretty ugly. But again, take care of your animals. Don't put a brown bale out there, folks, and let your animals go eating off of it. Snakes and everything crawl around it, but the possums get on it and they poop on it and pee on it, and you're up a creek. And other things too. So there you are.
Okay, let's wrap up. I got one more question, and then we're gonna get to the announcement here. Karen says, "What suggestions do you have for getting a mule to swallow or eat bitter tasting pills?"
All right, Karen, this is what I do. All right, I reach in the mouth from the side where there's no teeth, and I get a hold of the tongue, and I bring it out, and I hold it, and then I take my pills between my two fingers, and I shove it down in behind the tongue, and I drop it on the tongue, and then I give him back his tongue. He goes back. That's what I do. So I do the same thing when I'm going to do the teeth and float the teeth. I do the same thing. I reach in, get the tongue, take my floats and float, and then turn him back loose again. Now, they do have a way to come from the corner of the mouth, and it's a long tube. You kind of put it in the corner of the mouth and know about where the back side of the tongue is. This is important because the back side of the tongue, like back here, is where you want to drop it. That way the mule, they can't throw up and they can't cough really. It's kind of a sneeze, but they can't do that. So then therefore the pill goes on down, okay? You can also crush it up and put it in some honey with some graham crackers. That works really good too.
Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Folks, we've got something here to show you, and we are so glad that you're here with us. Steve, why don't you tell us just a little bit about, just usher us into the next era of awesomeness here.
All right, now, folks, I'm going to tell you something. When I was riding, I was riding in different saddles and this sort of thing. Then as I started progressing, all of us cowboys, we was all riding slick fork saddles, 5-inch cannels and slick fork, Wade slick fork. And boy, they're a beautiful saddle. But these days, if they're more looks than they are needing, because it was for animals. Back 50 years ago, we had a lot of thoroughbred breeding and we had a lot of high wither. Then come along the quarter horse, and we started getting the mutton withers and not having much wither and things like that. So the Wade slick fork is a good looking saddle. And so what I've done is I've taken my designs of bars and dimensions, and I built a tree for a slick fork saddle. Now I've done this 25 years ago. All right, maybe longer. I don't remember anymore what I even had for breakfast. But anyway, it's another story. But what I've done now is I've made a Rancher Ultralite. Yep, there it is, folks. Rancher Ultralite. Look at that seat. That is made for long hours in the saddle. And notice it is a Cordura and leather combination. Look at the front of it. See how that pommel is? You see that? Now look at that pommel. We stamped it all out. We made it look, put a nice big horn on it, And this saddle, folks, will do you just as much good as if you want to rope something or drag something or lead another animal. This saddle's like all my other saddles. It can stand the test. But this saddle was designed for cowboying. So I'm calling it the Rancher Ultralite. And I be honest with you folks, I haven't weighed it yet, but I know it's going to be a lot lighter than my Rancher, because normally my Rancher is 38 to 40 pounds. And so I'm thinking this saddle is going to be around 20, 21 pounds, but I'll weigh it out in our next program. I'll show it to you, but you can see it has the Corridor fenders, Corridor skirting. Okay. Really awesome, good looking saddle. And you can see that cantle. Back in them days, I rode with a nice big high cantle, and especially when I had the broncs or long days, it worked good. Now, I can tell you though, as I get older and as my clients have been older, it was harder for them to throw their leg over a 5-inch cantle. So that's why I went to a 4-inch cantle, and I haven't looked back. But I'm reviving my younger days now, my childhood, so to speak, and I'm bringing you a nice light saddle. Same tree, same dimensions, everything, but it's got a real oldies 1860s look. That was what Mr. Wade, when he designed this saddle, Wade Slick Fork, was back in the 1860s. And you can see we stamped it in the front, and it really is one awesome looking saddle. So I've got one built right now, and the way we're going to do it is I most likely will build it when you say you want it, and you'll usually have it within about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if they go to selling okay, then maybe I might have more of them made. Right now, this saddle is quite costly to have made simply because of the tree. The tree is the most expensive. Fiberglass covered, the way the seat's laid and this sort of thing, it's really nice. So there's something to consider. If anybody wants this saddle, I've got one of them here, or want some in the future, give us a call. We're going to have them on the internet probably this time next week. We'll have all the information on it and the pictures. If you read up on my Slick Fork saddle, my Rancher, you read up on it, it's going to say about the same things as what this saddle here says. It's just that we're talking a lot less weight.
What size is this particular seat right here, Steve?
This particular seat is a 16.
Okay. All right. Very good. That's awesome. When Steve sent that to me, I had no idea that you had been working on a new saddle, and you sent it over, and I was like, I have not seen this before. This one's good looking. Folks, you have to know, a lot of you have heard me say this. I did not grow up around equine, around livestock. I didn't grow up on the ranch. I didn't grow up cowboying. I grew up in a cul-de-sac. So a lot of this stuff I get exposed to for the very first time. And when Steve introduced some of this custom stamping with the Heritage saddle and with the Ultralite, my eyes just about popped out of their sockets, because I loved the way that custom stamping wound up looking. And so when I saw this one come through and I saw the pommel all stamped out, I thought that was really cool. So really excited to have this one, to be able to add this. Like Steve said, we've got one. We're going to be getting it on the website before this time next week. Hopefully by the end of this week. Got to make sure everything gets reviewed. We got all the correct information. But there you go, folks. The latest addition into the Steve Edwards signature saddle line. This is the Rancher Ultralite. Great saddle, made on the same tree that everyone loves, because, well, it's made to fit the bone structure of the mule and the donkey. It is that wood tree that offers the history, the dependence that we've come to expect from a wood tree, with the technology and the future of the fiberglass. So you're not getting that withered away, that ripping rawhide. It is completely encased around with fiberglass, which just makes for a fantastic long time experience. I want to remind everyone, tomorrow is the White Hairs webinar. And so we're going to be going live at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. If you can't join us live, do not fret. There will be a replay, but make no mistake, we want you there live. We want to hang out with you. This mule and donkey community, mule and donkeys would be sure lonely if we didn't have a great community. You are the ones that make this community awesome. So we keep showing up, and this is how we're showing up tomorrow. Steve, anything you want to say before we're all done today?
No, I'm looking forward to going over this with folks. We'll show on the website different places that say, hey, this is why this saddle is like this. And we're not going to name any names or show any people, but it is on the internet, and it says that it's from ill-fitting saddles. And folks, I'm going to show you what causes the problem. So, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow afternoon. Of course, that's 5 o'clock Arizona time, but some of y'all have to stay up a little late, but I appreciate it. And we're going to have a good time, and it is free.
There we go. Hey, this is cool. Chris Campbell just left a comment saying, laying in bed last night, I said I wanted a rancher from Steve. How funny. All right, Chris, you spoke it.
There you go.
It has happened. That's awesome.
Go.
That's real cool. Hey, folks, we cannot wait to see you tomorrow. There will be several hundred people there, I believe. So I sure do hope that you will be one of them. 5 o'clock. I left a link in the comment section there. You can sign up. Do it now. You're not going to miss anything if you leave now and click that link. Thank you so much. Steve, we'll see you tomorrow, okay?
All right, partner. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.